I warmly welcome everyone. Our bicycle is called Vakole. I was contacted by the Chinese webshop Buy Best Gear, as usual. And actually, they said that they saw that there are videos of scooters and bikes here. And they told me to choose one from the selection. And then they would send it here. And this is finally a situation where it wasn't that something was pushed on me like, hey, you should test this because we're promoting it now and this is important to us or anything like that. Instead, a web shop said that all they care about is making the web shop a bit more well known. And in return, or for that purpose, we will send you a product that you would like. I went through the selection and specified a lot of things for myself. I wanted it to be a bicycle with a torque sensor, and it is. I wanted it to be foldable, and it is. Foldable, at least on paper. In practice, it's just not that straightforward. I wanted it to be relatively powerful, and that means 2 times 750 watts, so there are 2 hub motors in the front and rear wheels, and I wanted it to go far. It has a 20 amp hour 48 volt battery, and on paper it can cover 80 to 120 kilometers if used in pedal assist mode. However, I really liked everything so far. And then I said, okay, send this out. It arrived, and we started assembling the bicycle. But previous experiences showed that assembling such a bicycle is a good hour's work, because you have to put the wheels in place, as well as the pedals, the handlebars, and We started assembling all the other bits and pieces, well prepared, and it turned out that it was relatively easy to put together, because it arrives in a folded state, but with the wheels already installed and the brakes adjusted. Essentially, you only need to attach the handlebars, check all the screws, adjust the brakes, set the gears, inflate the tires, and adjust the seat and handlebars to the appropriate height. So it wasn't as complicated to assemble as I expected, but it was still a challenge. This is a bicycle that weighs 43.5 kilograms, is a total of 175 centimeters long, extremely large, very heavy, and very robust, rolling on 20-inch wheels. Now, before we move on, let's also take a look at its pricing. It costs 1,600 euros. What's interesting is that when you want to choose a bike on Buy Best Gear, there are options with pedal sensors, which they call speed sensors, as well as options with torque sensors, and they cost the same. So why would you choose the inferior one, right? So I also voted for the torque sensor model, and of course there is a coupon code available now, which is included in the description, allowing you to save 100 euros if you order it using this code. But before you place the order, they should watch the video. And let's review together whether it is really worth buying for 1,600 or rather 1,500 euros. Let's start here at the handlebars, specifically on the left side, where there is a grip that could be better, but we do have a fixed grip. Here is an on-off switch that doesn't turn on the bike, but the light, so I will turn it on and demonstrate that the light is ice. Hallelujah. And basically this lamp here is lit at the back as well. And right now it's signaling with a little active light, which is about this much. And there is also a flashing light that operates on an independent battery, which can also be a fixed lamp located under the seat, which has a little knob somewhere down here that I can never seem to find, but it's there. So this can be fixed at the back, and of course it can be turned off, but this is independent of the whole bike. It's a separate battery-operated thing. And here is what controls the bike. It's currently signaling, because we have a turn signal switch here, which is 3-position. There is no feedback from the front, and at the back there is only this seemingly obvious signal, which doesn't really add much. And of course, we have a horn. Now, next to it, we have this small control unit, which seemingly has 3 buttons at first glance: plus, minus, and a large I. There is also a button at the top, right here, and if you press this, the display starts to light up, and the text appears. Essentially, with this control unit, you adjust the things visible on the display, and I will quickly show you what is here, because I think this is a really nice display. It's very clear, and actually it's quite simple to operate. If I press the plus and minus buttons, I can toggle the level of assistance, ranging from 1 to 5, and even 0. If I press the I button for a long time, it shows that under the schematic cyclist, the orange circle changes, indicating which motor is turned on or off, as we are currently in a dual motor state. Here we have the wonderful Shimano Cisterni TZ control lever, which is 7-speed, and what's useful is that the front and rear brake is hydraulic. However, it's not ideal that they are connected in reverse, meaning the rear brake is on this side and the front brake is on that side. This can obviously be changed. Additionally, we have a throttle here, which is the inner ring of this grip. I won't turn it now because the bicycle will start moving, but by turning it, you can move forward without pedaling. However, the reality is that you will rarely be pulling on this, and we will discuss why shortly. Now, this bag, we received it as a gift. By the way, they also give a mirror as a gift, but I didn't put it up because I felt it was strange. And they also give a phone holder as a gift. And they give a pump as a gift too. And as you can see here, there is a front suspension, but this is definitely in the lower end category. It's already wobbling a bit, even though it has been used for 40-50 kilometers. I have ridden it on dirt roads as well, that's a fact. There is a folding frame, and I will try to fold it all for you to see how not simple it is. But here, at the bottom is a key that you use to lock the battery, because if you open the bicycle or fold it, depending on your perspective, you can remove the battery and charge it separately. There is a 20 amp hour battery located inside here. This little thing down here should be positioned like this, but it didn't quite work out well in this spot. However, this is the paint protector for the support that is used to rest the bicycle on when it is folded. Here is a rear suspension. Now this is probably not an air shock, so there is likely no valve in it, which means it probably has a spring and some kind of resistant medium. And the real question is how long it will last, because if it wears out, it will be unpleasant, as it will start to rattle. So far there are no issues with it, but it doesn't seem like a very high-end solution. In any case, they included it. And it is a fact that the front and this rear suspension together alleviate a lot of the flaws in Budapest's road network, so it is actually not useless. Here at the back there are the disc brakes, which are hydraulically operated. We talked about the light, and this is a luggage rack with a load capacity of 50 kilos. Also, the fenders were factory installed, so this is what the bicycle can do. And what's tough is that this seat can be adjusted within very wide limits, because it can be raised up to here. Now, I will fix this in place, and just a bit, so we can see the thing from a distance. So the situation is that I don't think such a person exists who needs to set the seat this high. The manufacturer says that the bicycle can actually be used by people between 160 and 190 centimeters tall, according to them. And we lamented a lot about this. With the seat, neither of us is very tall. She is 168 centimeters and I am 173 centimeters. We don't need to completely lower it to take the seat down to its lowest position. But basically, we use the bike quite low. And in comparison, the handlebars are relatively high. And you can't lower them, but you can raise them by 20 centimeters, which makes it look like a strange circus bike if you raise both things. However, the situation is that if you look closely, the handlebar stem and the seat post are angled away from each other, which is different from a normal bike. This means that if you raise the handlebars and the seat, they don't get closer to each other. Instead, they actually move further apart, which means that relatively tall people can use it comfortably because they won't hit their knees against the handlebars. So in this regard, it is well thought out. But from another perspective, it is not designed for someone who is shorter than 170 centimeters, as the handlebars will be too high for you. I will try to show you how complex it is to fold it. Just like the front of the whole bicycle, if you lift it, you can turn it like this and place it on this thing. Now, I will put it on the pedal, right? And then, in its folded state, it won't be any smaller. However, it might be a bit easier to fit into a garage. But now I can remove the battery. It can be slid out. Here it is, it weighs 4 kilos, something like that. And there's another really great piece of news regarding this. Yes, they provide a 4 amp charger with active cooling. So when you connect the charger, a fan starts working inside the charger adapter. And with that, you can charge the bicycle in about 5 hours. It is twice as fast as what an average bicycle of similar goods and capabilities represents. This is definitely a big positive aspect of the bicycle. So, come with me to try it out. The situation is that this torque sensor solution may not actually be a torque sensor, but rather a very clever pedal sensor. I haven't figured it out. It is certain that this does not kick you in the back. It does not act suddenly. It is very well adjustable, and it can be very effectively applied to the force you put into the pedal, providing you with corresponding power or assistance. I think it doesn't make sense to drive only the front wheel. I only see the point in driving the rear wheel because then you are more economical. If you use just one motor, the torque is 60 Nm. If you use two, it's 85. This is not necessarily felt in such everyday urban transportation. that you are driving with two motors. When you encounter an uphill or a rougher section, then yes, you can definitely feel it, because if the surface is like that, the front wheel tends to dig in a bit. However, with that digging in, you can also feel where those points are that actually help you get over, say, a bump or an uphill on a dirt road. When you change between the gears, you are not setting how many kilometers per hour it should assist you, but rather you are setting how much power it should provide. And I think that is really, really cool and very, very well done. You can also go with a regular throttle, but it's important to know the level of assistance, because in gear 1, it helps with 15, in gear 2 with 26, in gear 3 with 25, and so on, and you can comfortably pull the throttle, and you will be able to go with that as well. But the thing is, I really don't think you need it. This bike provides enough power in every situation for you to easily and casually pedal through, but it never feels like you're pedaling in the air. So it's not like with these binary things where it's either fully on or off. Instead, it always adds just enough assistance to keep your pedaling comfortable. If you're in the 7th gear using the lowest chainring, you can actually reach speeds of 40-45 kilometers per hour if you're pedaling really hard, and you still won't look too ridiculous. If you adopt an average pace, while cycling, you can reach speeds of around 30 kilometers per hour, but you can also ride slowly. There's no need to be overly cautious, worrying that if you push a little, it will pull you off the asphalt. Instead, it truly adapts beautifully to the speed at which you are pedaling, or the strength with which you are pedaling, and this is very, very useful. I used the specific gear in 2 situations. One was when I really went up a very steep place. If I really wanted to, I could shift into the hardest gear and pedal like crazy, or I put in my strength, and it also contributed its power, allowing me to go up at 25 to 30 kilometers per hour, but at that point I definitely felt like I was exercising. When I set it back to a higher gear, either 1 or 2, my legs pedaled more, but with less force, and it also put in less energy, so we were able to go up to 10-15 kilometers per hour. There are places where you only go up if you switch, but that is relatively rare in everyday urban life. However, if you find yourself in such a situation, you can manage it. The other reason I used the gearbox was for starting off. When you start off in 7th gear, the bicycle accelerates quite a bit, not only because it has a gear ratio that allows for a little pedaling to go a long way, but also because the motor kicks in. Therefore, it's not necessarily ideal to use it in very busy places, but in 2nd or 3rd gear, with a bit of assistance, it can be very pleasant to ride. Additionally, for those who don't want to deal with this, they can easily start off gently by just tapping the throttle, and once they reach a safe speed, they can start pedaling, release the throttle, and the motor will take over. So the situation is that this is a sophisticated machine, making it good for commuting. You don't need to learn how to use it. You can easily transition from a regular bicycle to having a good experience with this one. It won't be dangerous, it won't jerk you around, and it won't be sudden. It provides balanced, comfortable, and well-distributed power. And moreover, it offers a lot of power, not just on flat surfaces, but also in the mountains, where you can ride it very well. However, no matter how much it may seem like a fat tire, big or bulky, and even though it has off-road tires, it is not an ideal choice for rough terrain. It's too big, hard to maneuver. I really don't recommend this for off-road use. The dirt and gravel environment is perfectly fine for it, but when you have to take sharp turns on mountain trails, brake suddenly, or accelerate quickly, this is not the right tool for you. However, as an urban bicycle in an environment with many inclines, especially steeper ones than what the average 250-watt torque sensor bikes can handle, it is a very good and pleasant partner that has never let me down under any circumstances. Additionally, it was very important for me that I could ride it slowly as well. The situation was such that when the circumstances required it, I had to ride carefully because there were many tourists, pedestrians, and various people wandering around on the bike and pedestrian path, and there were also people coming from the opposite direction, as well as those on scooters and unicycles. There was no problem maintaining a speed of 10 to 12 kilometers per hour. When the road cleared up, and there was a large empty area in front of me, I shifted gears a bit, and I could really glide effortlessly up to a speed of 35-40 kilometers per hour. That remains a quite reasonable pace, and you can reach anywhere fairly quickly at that speed. So, the situation is that the product has performed very well in several situations and various life circumstances. I do have some minor criticisms. For instance, the handlebar that cannot be lowered enough is definitely a point of criticism, and the fittings on the frame are not finished nicely enough. they could have been smoothed out, which would have made the whole thing look a bit better. So this is somewhat of a criticism for me. Both of us are a bit skeptical about how durable the rear and front suspension will be, as they are not top-of-the-line components. It would be worth putting some kind of plastic adhesive here to prevent the chain from damaging the paint. I might switch the seat to another one, because this is better than those very soft things. But it's still not a very high-quality seat. This is a usable bicycle, and it doesn't want to kill you, and it's not sudden, and it's totally controllable, and it's completely predictable, and it offers good travel comfort, especially in an urban environment. I really just wanted them to send a bicycle that I could use with joy, one that doesn't make me feel any fear, one that gives me confidence, because it's not just knowledge that makes you confident, but also a pleasant cycling experience. I truly feel that this bicycle can be a useful companion in everyday life for those who don't just ride on completely flat terrain, but for example, live in an area where the landscape is hillier, where you need to be able to get home after a tiring workday. And this bicycle is really suitable for them. I'm not saying that this is the best deal, because the price of 1,600 euros or 1,500 euros with a coupon is still quite a bit of money. I can't tell you how durable it will be. I can never predict that with my e-bikes. So there is a very wide range in quality. Therefore, I don't know how good the Vakole will be in the long run. It is certain that on this short distance that I tried, I did not have any particular problems with it, and I specifically enjoyed it. Let this be the final word. I hope I wasn't boring. If I was, you probably turned off the video a long time ago and commented about how I'm rambling and showing off. Okay, the usual. It doesn't bother me. However, if you feel that I was able to show you something interesting or useful, or if you think I helped you decide whether to buy or not buy a Vakole bicycle, then thank you for sticking with this video until now. Keep up your good habit, as there will be more similar content coming. We are likely to receive quite a few bikes and scooters this year, but definitely, if you want to see these videos, make sure to press every button that YouTube offers you, so you won't miss out on any future content. But if you still decide that you absolutely want to spend 1,500 euros on a Chinese electric bike, then I won't stop you. The link and the coupon code are in the description, so it's your choice. Bye.